ahead. Hi guys, I'm Pallavi. My
Hi,
face is probably very inverted. I do not look like this, is what I'm going to say to begin with.
You
It is a talk on this mock
you
and
look fine,
I
Pallavi.
the portfolio perfectly.
okay? Hi, Pallavi. I'm
You look fine. Hi, Pallavi. How are you?
Hi, I'm Pallavi. Nice to meet you. Thank you so much for having me.
It was Furqaan's brilliant idea. I'm so excited to have you.
Thank you, thank you.
You and your brilliant idea, Furqaan.
Thank you, Pallavi. So Pallavi, you are studying your information technology and art at Georgia State,
Yes, Georgia Southern, yeah.
and
And you're an
okay,
artist, a musician, a writer, and you've started your own clothing line called Lemon Fellow, if I'm not wrong.
Yes, I have. See, now you said all these nice things about me first thing in the morning, so I'm already going to be feeling great about myself. Thank you for that. That was a lovely little introduction.
Yes. Okay. So
okay. So today,
go for it.
no, go ahead. Okay, no. We were just talking about the beauty stigma today, and we had a couple of questions for you. And Prarthana will start the first question.
Okay. So for you, how much of a role does social and mass media have to do with the way that you view your body?
I would say it had quite a big impact on me to begin with. I think it starts all the way from like the early 2000s, right? You see all these magazines were a big thing in the early 2000s, and I think magazines were such a big thing that influenced the way I view myself. Magazines, and then there was movies and whatever. But as I've progressed and as I understand my body better, as I understand body dysmorphia better, I realized that social media does have an impact on me, but I wouldn't say as big as it did in the past with magazines and movies, as I said. So currently, to answer your question in short, I don't think it influences me as largely, but I do have my days where I compare myself, and like most people do.
Okay, my question to you is, how do you manage to be comfortable in your skin?
It's a journey. It's obviously a journey, and I take my time with it. But what I've learned, it's such a good question. But what I've learned is, I think just understanding yourself, understanding your needs, understanding your mind, and I think comparison and sort of trying to fit. I think from the beginning, from the very start, from the minute we're born, we're made to fit this ideal, right? Okay, this we have this kid that's born into the family. We want her to become an engineer, and the minute you're born a girl, there's a certain ideal you have to fit for beauty, for your education, what kind of guy you're going to be with. So there's the minute you're born female, there are all these sort of little interwebs that you have to fit, and I have been made to fit that. It's always okay. Pallavi was the darker cousin, or Pallavi was the fatter cousin, or Pallavi was that, Pallavi was this. So it was definitely a journey. But as I have grown, as I've gotten older, I think just believing that this is sort of the body I will be stuck with, and this body does everything for me. It is merely a vessel, right? This body is simply a vessel, as Esther Lawrence said. So just understanding that everything that my mind contains and everything that is contained within me is because of my body. And yeah, so that's basically reminding myself that that's all my body is what helps me sort of cope with, or it helps me. That's basically me answering your question.
I love that.
Very nice.
That line is beautiful. That your body's a vessel.
It is. Iskra Lawrence said it. I think she's one of my biggest inspirations, and it is so true, right? It is so true that it's not, your body is nothing but a capsule. But at the same time, I don't want to take away credit from how much your body does for you. But yeah, it is simply a capsule.
Thank you. That was really nice.
Okay. So my next question for you is, when someone is struggling with body dysmorphia, how can an individual as a bystander help them?
I think the first thing that we should not say to someone with body dysmorphia or eating disorders is, but why? You're great as you are, you're so pretty, you're so skinny, you're so fat, or you're so that, or you're so this. I think the biggest thing you don't want to say to someone with body dysmorphia is, pinpoint their physical attributes, or just say, okay, you're this, so why do you need to have that? I think invalidation is something that for every mental illness, right, invalidation is something that is, I think it plays a really big part, and it really triggers how a person can view themselves. So I think that's the first thing we shouldn't do. I think listening, as I said, listening is a great, very cliche, but listening to the person can really, really help them get out of it. And you sort of understand what their thoughts are better. And you will understand, as a human being, you'll know how to react to it better as you speak to them and let them speak more about body dysmorphia. So yeah, I think the first thing, you don't compare, don't make them feel like they're, the most, don't tell them that they're pretty or they're not pretty. I think that is something that is one thing you should not do, I would say.
Okay.
Yeah.
Those are some good points.
Okay. Yeah, that was really nice. Okay, this question is for both Pallavi and Prarthana. So Pallavi, you answer this first, and then Prarthana, you go ahead. So my question is, what are the mental challenges you had to face when you had to look a certain way, because you both happen to be modeling and you both happen to be putting yourself out there with photography and all of that?
All right. Do I get to, I'm sorry, who answered the
Yeah,
question?
go ahead.
Okay. All right. So I think, again, with modeling, it is a stricter industry, right? They expect you to look a certain way. And I don't think it is, at least in India, I don't think there is that sense of saying, okay, you know what, you can kind of be whatever size you are. There are a lot of great alternative agencies, but to be a model in the industry alone that doesn't have the tag alternative to it and be any size, it's still quite, I don't think it's as prevalent as it is abroad everywhere else. So the industry does have really, really strict standards, and trying to fit those standards can kind of mess up the way you view yourself, I think. So it has heavily, the question was, has it heavily, like, does it impact me, right? Has it impacted me, or how it's impacted me, right? Just to cross check. Yeah, so it has impacted me to a great sense, because you're constantly trying to fit the ideal, that someone else is setting for you, or they're trying to compare you. They keep sending you pictures of how you should look sometimes, and I think that can really do damage to someone, especially someone with PDD.
Very true.
Ratna, we true.
I think definitely the environment can be a catalyst, and this particular environment more so. But I think it primarily has to do with the way that you view yourself, and if you're able to accept that. So
100%.
I know that when those photos come out, the first thing I'm looking at is if I could have lost a little bit more weight there, or if I had moved my arm the other way, or I could have worked on my skin a little bit more, which is a little sad, because honestly, whether in the fashion industry or not, I personally don't know of any young women my age that are not insecure about something in their body, which is pretty sad. But I think maybe shifting the focus from I don't where they're just feeding information and media into you, saying no, what you have is not enough, just shifting that focus and making it more of, hey, I have this much and I'm grateful for it and I'm appreciative of it, probably help.
Exactly.
But it's still,
Yeah, that's sorry, go on. I'm so sorry.
oh no, I'm done, but I was just saying that it's difficult.
Yeah, it absolutely is. And that, you exactly as you said, I think just viewing yourself as something that is a lot more than just your looks. So just saying that, okay, I'm enough as I am, is a great way. I think I tell myself that a lot, and that has helped me cope with the way I look and how I view myself in the industry. And also, I think if you remind yourself that, like every other job, modeling is merely a job. It is simply a job. And I think because we involve ourselves so much in a career like modeling, you have to see so much of yourself. We start taking it really seriously. We start taking ourselves, like the way we look, really seriously. Instead of saying, this is a job, I have to get this done, and I did get it done. And saying, instead of appreciating yourself for it, you start scrutinizing and criticizing the way you look in these photographs or videos or whatever.
Exactly.
So I think, as she said, it was a great point she made. Just being happy with what you have is such a gift, honestly.
Thank you. You both are great models, and thank you for answering that question. Your turn.
So my question is for both Furqaan and Pallavi. I want to know a little bit about your journey with your body and what it's like now and what it has been.
Okay, Furkan, do you want to go first, or do I feel like I'm
Go ahead.
answering so much.
No, please go ahead. You're the guest.
All right, okay. I so I think it all starts from a certain point, right? And my journey with dysmorphia started when I was in the fourth grade. I think families played quite a big impact. I think when you have a bunch of cousins or a bunch of friends that are around your age, right? There is that factor of comparing and seeing, okay, who has the best looking kid? And I think that happened a lot. And it was also in school, and I was kind of a chubby kid, so I got made fun of for being on the chubbier side. And I used to look in the mirror and I used to wonder, okay, why do I not look like this? And then, as I said, there were the 90s and the early 2000s were a really, really big time for like magazines, right? And if you look at sort of the era, the chronological order of all the eras that of beauty standards, we see that the late 90s and the early 2000s had this ideal of being super, super skinny. And I just never saw myself fitting that ideal. And as I got older and older, I found myself just submerging more and more in this ideal. And I also got into maybe a rather like toxic relationship with my body. I had a couple of eating disorders. And I just always was in this battle of, will I ever be thin enough? Just because of the way I perceived myself as a child. So my journey with dysmorphia has been kind of up and down. I'm learning a lot more now as I get older. I'm learning that there's so much more to my body, as I said. And it is a slow journey, but yeah, I mean, it all started when I was young, and as I progressed, I'm just I'm learning more and more about myself. And I guess that is the journey in itself. I hope, isn't it? I think this is the journey. I hope I'm doing it right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so
That's
that's
That
me.
was very nicely answered.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't. I
Um,
was all over the place, but thank you.
okay. My journey has been a regular journey, but like the thing is, I could relate to being on the heavier side when I was younger. I was a chubby kid. I had like a very unhealthy relationship with food. I'd eat in class, I'd eat at home, I'd eat while I was sleeping, I'd nap and eat.
You
I
were
eat
so
everywhere. Yeah. It was that. I got caught multiple times in class for eating. Like I'd hide and eat cakes and all. But yeah, I was on the heavier side. It makes me remember. I remember this one incident that happened in Wonderla. So we had to go to the water park, and I had to take my shirt off, and I was dreading that moment. And this one guy runs and comes, and he starts shaking, and he says, "Hey, bro, so jiggly, bro."
Oh my god.
And now if I think about it, it's hilarious. But back then it did have like this adverse effect on my mind. But then as I kept growing older, I realized that, you're not going to be as youthful as you were at one point in your life. You are going to change with your body. And no matter how you look, or no matter even if you have imperfections, it's just who you are. You will have something that's authentic to yourself. And I feel like everyone as an individual is beautiful, and they should know that. And I know this sounds like very Instagrammy. You are beautiful, boo. You do you, queen.
Like a breakup
But
quote coming up
when you come,
when you have a breakup, you have like a breakup quote coming up. No, but you're so right. You're so right.
yeah, but I feel like everyone has something authentic to themselves, and I feel like to each his own. And I feel like people should start accepting themselves for whoever they are, because like as you keep growing older, you will start changing with your body. And Pallavi and I had an interesting conversation about raisins yesterday. And
Yeah, what reasons?
about raisins, yes, we said as we keep growing older, we'll end up looking like raisins. And Pallavi said she looked like a golden raisin. Yeah. So yeah, so I feel like acceptance and self-love is very important, no matter who you are and no matter how you look, because you have to love yourself. Most people wouldn't, and that's okay. I feel like it starts with you. What
Yeah,
about you,
exactly.
Prarthana?
I have also, I mean, I've been on these crazy diets, like juice diets and like the GM diet and like so many,
Right, yeah.
just to get to that thing. And the problem with those diets is at the end of it, you've deprived your body of so much food that you just start binge eating. And then it reverses the process and makes it even worse. And it's just like a
Exactly.
really unhealthy relationship with food and your body, because you're looking at your body in the mirror every day and you're like, you're not good enough. You're just not good enough. You're not good enough here and there. But I think just telling your body and treating it like another little person and saying, your legs have given me strength and have helped me walk for so many years. Just like fundamental things like that. To reiterate that to myself and improve my relationship with food and with the way I look at myself has been a journey. And
Very, very well said. And I have to
Nicely
ask
done.
you this. Do you guys think that diet culture has played a really big impact on the way you sort of view fitness overall?
What
Because
culture?
I know fitness is diet, diet culture.
absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I mean, I think I've had this conversation with Furqaan, and now you tell me as well about how you were on the. I recognize so many of the diet, like the juice diet, and then there's the GM diet, and we have all these other diets that people recommend that you lose weight. We have the 5:2 diet, and all of these diets, right? So I just look, I think about it so often. Every time I gone on this little bit of a binge eating phase, which still happens. I keep eating and eating. As Furqaan said, I eat in bed, I eat when I'm showering, I eat everywhere, right? So,
Where's
so,
the food coming from? Where you're eating?
pardon me, I could,
Swiggy.
no, dude, my food, like, I have, from, I used to Sour Punk, and like, you have these things called soya sticks. I don't know if you've heard of them. Have you,
Masala ones.
bro, that stuff is good, and I will I have wait, I have a packet right here, okay. And this is from last night. Watching The Crown, and I was eating. So today I was just like, okay, you know what, I'm going to completely change up my life. I am going to start an incredible diet. And I realized that just diets don't work. Diets really don't
Yeah.
work, because it has to be consistent. It has to be consistent eating where you're happy with what you're putting in your body.
I
So yeah.
feel like the whole like as a guy, I used to go to the gym. I used to go. I don't go to the gym anymore. And when I did go to the gym, I saw a lot of like toxic masculinity. I don't know if I'm. It was like very weird because people would be so calorie conscious, and they'd be like, I had 50 calories for breakfast, and it would be one cherry and one piece of bread, and I'd be like, am I supposed to eat that? Because I'm sure I'm not gonna feel full after that. And I kept trying, I kept cutting weight, I kept doing all of this. But until I started, actually appreciating the fact that I did have food and food existed. And like I think Prarthana and you mentioned that your body is a vessel, and there's so much love that your body takes good care of you. And you have to take good care of your body by, actually giving yourself good nutrition and eating well. Yeah, and I feel like if your mindset is like, hey, yeah, that's all I'm not sure what I'm saying. That's all I have.
Right direction. I was into it, dude. I was being inspired, and today I thought to myself, you know what? I'm going to go buy myself another packet of soya sticks, and I'm going to watch The Crown in bed and finish my entire packet of soya sticks. But no, I see what you're saying, and I completely agree. You shouldn't just put things in your body to make your body look a certain way, because food does a lot more for you than just determine how your body looks, right? Food
True.
literally it makes your body the powerhouse it is. So food is such an important,
Absolutely.
and it's so unfortunate that we end up having these bad relationships with food because of society and the way human beings are made to look, are meant to look rather.
Yeah, and diets are supposed to help you. They're not supposed to have adverse effects on your body. But like diets these days are all about starving yourself, and which is a little scary, according to me, I feel.
And
Yeah.
like, what's a diet? A diet is a constitution of food. It's different like elements that bring together like this one thing, this meal that you take in, and it's supposed to have every single thing. That's what a balanced diet is. But here we are, we're cutting out carbs from our diet, and we're cutting out like fat from our everything. Like, no cheese, or you eat only one brick of cheese, and then you drink a shit ton of water. I mean, that's what Emily Blunt said in The Devil Wears Prada. I actually considered doing that when I watched The Devil Wears Prada when I was I don't know how old I was, but I was like, oh, she got skinny eating one cube of cheese and then water. I should really try that. And I was trying to convince myself to try that. So I think, yeah, I don't know where I was going with this either, Furqaan.
No, so I was reading this book called Healing and no, go ahead, Pratna.
Please finish, Furqaan. I'll go up.
I was reading this book called Healing and Recovery by David Hawkins, and there was something that he couldn't eat, and all his life he stayed away from it because it was just like you said, a negative belief system. He could never touch it. He always cut it off from his diet. He'd always have lettuce wherever he went. But then once he told himself that, listen, it's just food after all, and I'm getting my nutrition, and there's nothing that could possibly go wrong. And he started consuming. He actually started losing a lot of weight, and he actually started, he was all right.
Yeah.
No,
Okay,
so
I have one more question. After Pratna. I've been cutting you off too much.
I was saying about the cheese and the thing. I went through an article once about water dehydration. When you're doing shoots where you're showing a lot more of your skin. So I actually tried, and it's so messed up. I actually tried the water dehydration thing, right? And then I did the shoot, and after shoot, I was like, shit, this is so bad. This didn't work. And when I looked at the photo about 1 or 2 months later, it was actually not so bad. So I think also realizing that you're just never going to have the body that's perfect, because when you get where you want to get, then you're going to be like, okay, no, you know what, I need more of this or more of this.
Exactly.
So if you're never going to get to that perfection level, then why are you putting yourself through so much?
Exactly.
Okay, I have 2 questions to ask, but before I ask the last question, I'm going to ask a question to both of you all. Do you think modeling, doing all of the water fast, just like starving yourself for your photo shoots, is it starving, or is it just like drinking water? I'm not sure. How does it go?
Prarthana, I'm going to let you go because I don't know. I don't even know I did not fully understand the question.
Wait,
let me just say
I
that.
haven't framed my question yet. Does or will this have a psychological effect on your mind? Will it? Like doing all of this, the water fast, or just like not eating for a week, or just like constantly, in this vicious cycle, has it or does it?
For sure. I mean, your body is not programmed to only drink water for 5 to 6 days, and that much of it, and then like deplete yourself of that much water. So definitely, and I think more the end outcome, because you expect a certain outcome from it, and then it doesn't give you that, or it gives you that, but you've just exhausted your body and yourself in the process, which is very unhealthy in my opinion. So yes.
Exactly. Go on. I'm so sorry.
I'm done. Please go ahead.
No, I'm feeling so bad. You were saying something, and then I cut you off. I'm exactly like Furqaan. I'm sorry.
We're gonna call this episode the beauty stigma, where we cut each other off for 1 hour.
Cut each other off. Never mind, I was going to make a bad joke, but I'm glad I didn't complete that. But I almost did, so it's bad enough.
We're famous for bad jokes on this show.
Yeah, we're famous for that. All we do is clap on the show. That's all. We just clap.
Great. Okay. So, to answer your question, I think going on something like a water fast, for me, I have a body type where I tend to lose weight quite quickly. So in 3 days, I'll start seeing results. So doing something like a water fast, I think for me personally, is something quite toxic, because if I start seeing that, okay, this is giving me a result, I will continue to do it, or I did continue to do it rather. So I think I went on a juice fast where I would juice everything up, anything possible. I would be liquid form. And I did it, I think, for a week before I was going on holiday with my family. I was going with like a bunch of cousins that I hadn't seen for a long time. And I started seeing that, oh, you know what, I'm looking better in clothes. And immediately I realized that this juice diet was something that I could, stick with so I could get really skinny. But is it feasible? No, not at all. Because I was tired, I looked tired, my skin was bad, everything. I feel like I don't even remember that vacation because of how badly I was treating myself. I treated myself 1 week before. It was the same thing. So I used to suffer from bulimia, and I started seeing that I was giving myself results, by every single time I threw up, instantly my stomach would get like sucked in. And I ended up losing 15 kilos in a month that way. And my body was just not listening to me. I was just saying, you know what, I'm going to do this until I'm happy with myself. And I was in a bad relationship at the time. So my boyfriend at the time started saying, okay, you know what, now you don't have any boobs, now you don't have a bum. And I just realized that you're never going to be everything. There's always going to be something that you're not going to have, and you should be okay with it. And I'm not saying this in vain. It's not a bad thing to not have something, because as Furqaan said, every way that you are is unique to your own, right? And just like, I think depriving yourself of all these good things in life is such a toxic cycle, and we really have to break from it, because you will never be able to satisfy every single beauty standard, everybody's beauty standard in the world.
Your own
Okay,
image of it more than.
Your voice broke. I'm really sorry.
No, I said your own image of it more than other. Like you have this set image, and like
Exactly. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
okay. My final question to you, Pallavi, is you mentioned that you suffer from body dysmorphia. How did you diagnose it? And what is your advice to anyone that's suffering from it?
Okay, initially it was all like it was internet research, like most of us do. And I didn't know what I was going through at the time, because it was my friends used to constantly tell me, you're seeing something else, you're seeing something else. And I wouldn't believe them, because you can't think the mirror lies. And I started considering that that was the truth, because my friends used to tell me that I was getting really skinny, and I just wasn't seeing it. So I started doing some research, and I found out about BPD, and I read more and more about it. And recently it got clinically diagnosed, but before that I just knew what body dysmorphia was, and I kind of correlated it. But recently I started talking to a therapist, and that is when I found out, it was confirmed rather. So that is sort of how the confirmation happened. And to answer the second half of your question, can you please repeat that? I just want to make sure I answer correctly and I don't go around.
That's okay. What's your advice to anyone that's suffering from it?
All right. I just say I would first of all tell them the ideal they have for themselves in their head is bullshit. I wouldn't put it like that probably, but I would say that whatever ideal you have for yourself, you will never be able to fit it. And chances are that nobody will be able to fit it, because you're setting an inhuman standard for yourself in your head. If you want like this perfect hourglass shape, there is no way you cannot have a certain amount of fat in your body. There's no way you can't be this, you can't be that. So I think the first thing is to kind of demolish that image that you have of yourself in your head. Start looking at yourself as you. Stop buying clothes that are smaller so you can fit into it one day. Stop hiding behind your dad's t-shirt, Pallavi Sastry, um, thinking that, oh, you know what, you're going to look skinnier. I think just saying that, you're just reminding yourself that this body is what you're stuck with, and the body that you have in your head is something that at, at any point in time you might not be able to achieve. Reminding yourself that, telling yourself that, and just being honest with yourself, because we lie to ourselves, dude. When you I think as a dysmorphic person, I lie to myself a lot. I lie to myself that, okay, you know what, hiding in this hiding behind this will make me look skinnier. If I hide behind two of my cousins standing here, I will look skinnier. If I stand this far away from the camera, I will look. So like lying to yourself and not allowing yourself to embrace who you are, and not allowing yourself to say things like, okay, this is my body, this will be my body forever. I think that will really, you fool yourself. You will lie to yourself by not allowing yourself to embrace yourself. That's a lot of yourselves. But yeah, I would say just learn acceptance and just stop believing that you will attain something that is unattainable. Break the truth to yourself.
You couldn't have said it better. That was beautiful.
Thank you.
Everyone needs to hear more, for sure.
Couldn't have said it better.
Thank you.
Yeah. Pallavi, for reinforcing the facts of self-acceptance and embracing yourself. Thank you for sharing your journey with us. I think it's really commendable that you came on here and you spoke about your life. I think it takes a lot of guts and courage. And thank you for sharing your journey. I know you've been through a lot. I know you've struggled with body issues and dysmorphia and all of that. And thank you for coming today. We're
Thank you
really
guys.
happy.
Thank you.
Thank
You're
you guys.
our first guest and definitely the most.
You're our first guest.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
That's a happy dance. Okay. That was so embarrassing. Can you cut that out, please?
No, we're not. One thing we're not cutting out is the happy dance. We have to keep it. Sastry doing the happy dance for 30 minutes.
1 hour.
Talking to you, Pallavi, because I felt like, oh my god, there's someone that gets me. You know,
I felt exactly the same. When you said it's more the ideal that you set for yourself, like I resonated with that, because I also do think about what other people think, but majority of the times it's just us, right? So when you reminded me that, I like remembered, I was like, oh, you know what? She's exactly right. Like, it's exactly that. It's me. I'm trying to impress myself in a certain way, you know? It's not impressed, but I'm trying to set this ideal for myself more than anyone else setting it for me.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, before I rant more, I have this problem. It's a family problem I get from my dad, very proudly. I should probably take your leave.
Take care, Pallavi. Thank you. Thank you for coming today.
Thank you guys so much for having me, honestly. And I really, really like talking to you and hearing both of your stories as well.
Thank you so much. We like hearing your stories. We hope to see you sometime again in the future.
I hope so too. I'll practice how not to rant as much this time, the next time.
We need people to rant. We need people to do the happy dance. We need people to be crazy. That's the whole point of it.